Welcome back to the Tidarium Hangar. This is Mike. I'm coming at you with the weekly news in review for October 17, 2021. We've got a lot of stuff going on this week from Masterpiece Transformers. Little bit with the Legends, but not much. And, of course, Mainline always has a lot of stuff going on with Hasbro. And then the PulseCon coming up. We have Star Wars news. We've got stuff for Gargoyles going on. We've got stuff for Neca Gremlins. We've got the Master Verse for Motu and more updates from the Origins. All this coming up. Starting out with some new stuff from Show Z, and I'm not really sure why or how they got these, but they do have the Walmart version of the Optimus Prime no trailer reissue from Hasbro, and they've got some in stock for $45. So I don't really know how this happened or what's going on with it, but I figure if you really want this, it's not bad. I just was kind of thinking it'd be a $30 price point. I'm hoping maybe down the road we see that, but here we go with the Astro Train reissue, and that's another one they have, so I'm not sure how they got a hold of them. But this one's only like $43, still pretty pricey, but it's getting the vintage packaging, and I believe these are all official. I don't think these are like KOs, they're reissue versions, but I don't know 100%. I really don't have much information. I just saw them and thought it might be nice to talk about these things. So McFans Toys is putting out a Seeker, and I'll talk more about this in Legends, but it's $25 for their Starscream. Now this is, I believe, the DX9 mold, KO oversized, modifications made, slightly different, but this is the one I have. And I feel it's good enough for Legends that I did not upgrade to DX9 or Magic Square versions. I feel like it's fine. But some people feel like the New Age is vastly superior, and you're paying 3 times the price for those. So, getting into some Masterpiece news here, we have actually another Seeker. We have the Thundercracker from Takara, version 2.5, or some call it 2.0, some call it 3.0. It looks good. Here's the thing. This one is a good mold. I like the Starscream. I still have the Starscream. I think it works. The Thundercracker's going to be fine. The Skywarp is going to be fine. The thing is about these is that I feel they're still a bit short, but they look great. And how great do they look? Well, see, it's even shorter than their past versions, but it is better looking, like way better looking, in my opinion. But still, if you didn't have the side-by-side comparison, I could see how somebody could be happy with their old ones. Still, all this going on, $240 for this guy. Now, we already know the alt mode because we've all seen Starscream, but now we see it in blue, and there it is. It's a pretty clean alt mode. It looks fine. It looks good. I mean, I don't have the side angles of it. The top down is the picture I got, but I think it looks great, and I would have gone this route if it wasn't for, Deformation Space. So, the Moon Studio Zeta version of Raiden, or the Train Bots, is showing more pictures, and I think they look great. I mean, this is really good pictures. Here's the back of it. And I want to say that I want to clear up last week's comments. I did cancel this because I'm dipping into 35 vintage toy lines and about 7 modern toy lines. I had to cancel something. This looked like a $600 savings. But the more I look at these, the more I'm like, I might be back into it. I thought they were going to hit all in one month. And if it spreads out and you get like maybe 2 in December, then 2 in like February or something, I might be back into it. So it's kind of hard to say no on these. They look really good. They look that great. And of course, they're doing what Zeta does and promoting the heck out of this thing, which is awesome. It's outstanding. They look great in all the modes. I have no tie to the characters at all, even 1%. But the fact they look good and the size, they are going to be beasts. I might be in on them or back on that train. So we're getting more pictures of the 3.0 MDLX Optimus Prime. Now, we've seen this in the past, but now these are better pictures, and it's what 3.0 does. They kind of step you up to what they're going to put out as they go, and it looks pretty good for what it is, and it looks nice. It's a nice looking figure. If you're in on this, you might really be in on this. And it's going to be cheaper than their other options in the past. So it's kind of like a smaller, more scaled down version for a more affordable price, like a third or a quarter of the price of the bigger ones. So kind of staying in that same lane here, we got the Prime 1 Studio statues, and they are in what they call an antique gold. And so with that, the statue market is a different market, in my opinion, than even the Masterpiece or Legends or Mainline market. It's a whole different market of people that go for these statues. And so with this, it does kind of look pretty good. It looks pretty cool. And maybe you call this Golden Lagoon. Here we go with a Megatron in the same antique gold version of Megatron. And there he is. So these do carry a higher price point, a premium price with them. And they are a really big statue for what you get. We got more pictures this week of the NBK Jugger and the Adjudicator. So there's two different versions, two different colorations of the exact same figure. It appears. Now one seems to have a sword and a barrel. I think they might just be mixing up what you can do in different options, but here they are with some color variations, and then they turn into a full-size, yes, a full-size gun. And it's just interesting, mind-blowing, something just out of the blue, and it's very popular, by the way. I've had so many comments and questions about this, and I don't have all of the answers, but they do look good. And here is kind of a, I think this picture sums it up the most. You got a full-size gun, and you've got the bot standing next to it. And so you see it just turns into a ginormous bot. Like, might be your biggest Transformer. Might be like a Zeta combiner size. It's kind of what I scale this to be. And then we see somebody holding this thing, and you can kind of see how big the gun is. So it's not like a kid's Nerf gun. Well, I mean, I'm sure there's Nerf guns that big, but it's not like a kid's gun. It's made to fit an adult hand. Gun first, then bot next. So some people pointed out this is cheaper at BBTS and TF Source. So I mean, I'm just gonna throw that out there. Hey, if there's other places it's cheaper than Show Z, get it there. But I'm understanding from a lot of places that Show Z will be the first to ship these. So I mean, there's pluses and minuses to everything, depending on where you get it. So there's pictures of this Planet X PX C04 Cactus. I thought we already had this out. But is this one bigger than the past ones, or is it just a reissue, or whatever? It looks a little bit different to me, but it still looks pretty cool. And Grimlock is, Grimlock's Grimlock. He's pretty awesome. I like Grimlock, and this iteration of him looks pretty nice. Looking at him next to some of their versions of the Star Saber and Deathsaurus, they look good too. And so with this, now we're gonna have some upcoming competition of more Star Sabers and Deathsauruses coming soon between HasLab and, of course, X-Transbots. And then here's the alt mode in this, and of course it doesn't look exactly Super G1. It's got the stylization and what we've seen in the past from this company and the Planet X and what they've got going on with it, but there it is. And here we are with it next to a couple of other options of primes that are out there and out and about. So it's pretty big, it's beefy. And I think Grimlock really does need to be a big figure. So if you're in on this, you might want to check it out. Alright, time for a little X-Transbots news. And X-Transbots is putting out their Virtus, the human version. So only human. And they just wanted to show the figure. I don't know why. It's the figure. It's what we expect. And it's pretty much exactly what I thought it'd be. But they're going to... I'm assuming they're going to do these with all the other characters that are coming. And some people feel like this is kind of a foreshadowing of other characters they're going to do in the future, on top of the 75 they've already announced. But here is another updated pic. Now, we have not seen this fully painted 100%. So, in the alt mode, and the helicopter mode, and on a stand, and it looks good. I think that Virtus will be the best looking. I don't know if it's going to be the best operating or transforming or whatever, but if I can muddle through the transformation, get them back in bot mode on my shelf, I'll be happy. I'll be happy with it. But moving on to their groove. Now this one here is their version of the groove, and it looks okay. It looks pretty good. Bot mode, it'll probably be in bot mode for me for like 12 minutes till I get it into the alt mode and then into its mode on the shelf. And so let's look at the other modes. Here he is in his motorcycle mode. Now that thing looks awesome. Like, I want to get me like, you know, some Chips figures and put them on there. Maybe I should get 2 of these and 2 Chips figures and put them on there. That looks really good. And I'm sure it's a hop, skip, and a jump away to the Mode 4 combined mode. But here he is next to the infamous, the infamous, he's more than famous, he's Fuzz. But next to him, side by side, they don't scale. But we don't want them to scale. We want them to look good in combined mode. That's all that really matters. And he comes with a slew of stuff, 3 extra heads. 3 entirely, completely swappable heads, and some guns and stuff. So, pretty cool. I think X-Transbot's reputation will be turned around in the next 10. It'll take them 10 releases. But in 10 releases, they'll turn it around. So Zeta called me up and said, hey, we still have a Seeker coming. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. But it's only like 75 bucks. So it's the cheapest of all of them. And it's the tallest of all of them. But it's dated. That mold is dated. But if you already have the cone heads like I do, it'll fit into your cone heads. It'll work well. So I don't view them as bad. I just view them as 5 years ago. Kind of. They're so 5 years ago. But what we have today, some of the stuff beats them aesthetically, but they're so big. I mean, if you're into the big bots, then there you go. Here's the whole trio of the team of all of the Seekers that are coming out. And they look good. And they're cheap. And so, I mean, that's what Zeta does well, right? They make them look okay and cheap. Here's the alt modes. Maybe you just pick them up for the alt modes. Maybe you just have them for some alt mode Seekers. They look pretty clean in alt mode. They work okay. The transformation's not that bad. It's super duper old school, so I imagine it's not much different than the Coneheads. So we got pictures of YOLO Park and their Plamo, smaller version of Optimus Prime, and you have to assemble it. It's a kit. You have to assemble. You have to put this together. And how much do you have to put together? How many parts are there? So there's this many. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 153, 157, 680. I don't know how many parts there are. That's a lot of parts. That is a lot of parts to put together. I guess this all goes to 1. But yeah, this is why these things are so expensive, because of the part count, just a massive, massive, massive high part count on these figures, and you get to see firsthand what it's like to assemble these. Alright, so getting into some Legends news here. We've got McFans Toys putting out their Seekers, and I really think they're going to do them all again. They put out a whole Headmaster set. Now they're putting out the Starscream, and for 25 bucks, it's a really affordable price point. And you get all the other ones in there. If they eventually put them all back out, you can get them for a good price. They are not as good as either the Magic Square or the New Age. They are a budget option, but I have them and I like them enough that I never upgraded, so that says something for it. The rest of this Legends news is going to be like a news roundup of what's going on, but Magic Square is starting to work on their Devastator, and it looks pretty promising. I think it will be better than what New Age gave us, but then again, New Age is pretty good, so it's going to be hard to beat that. So I can't wait to see side-by-side comparisons for those who care that much. But here this is, and it's the first set, and it's out right now, and it's actually looking pretty good so far. They are thicker, they're wider, they're not going to be quite as skinny, and this 2 figures for 80 bucks. Magic Square is also trying to do a 2.0 version of their Prime, and I don't know how I feel about Legend 2.0 when their first one's okay. It's good. Why revisit this instead of giving us the other 40 characters that we want or need? But yeah, they're revisiting Prime, and of course, everybody's going to buy it. And Magic Square's also working on their Jazz. So, no price on this yet, but it looks good. It looks really good. I mean, some people try to say, well, maybe it's going to be better than any of the Masterpiece options. I doubt that. I think it's going to be good, but not quite Masterpiece level. It's going to have, some of the extra kibble and stuff, some of the passes that we give Legends, but overall, I think it does look like the best Legends Jazz. New Age has their own Jazz Optimus Prime. They call it David. It's the H27, and it looks good. It will beat the Magic Square one in paint and aesthetic, but the overall design I don't think is better. So, it's kind of weird how we don't have the best of both yet. We have one does paint well, one does design well. Why not come together on this? Same story with the New Age Ultra Magnets, and they've got that coming out. Now this is going to be $85, and the Prime is $80, and this is $85. And it looks good for what it is, and I'm sure it's going to be great. So I think it's smaller than the Magic Square version, but still, we don't have it in hand just yet to do comparisons. I look forward to that. I guess I should name that segment Legends in Limbo. So here we go with mainline stuff. Of course, always a lot of stuff going on with Hasbro and mainline stuff. This is the Victory Saber, fully backed, all tiers met, 22,706. I was right it would get backed. I was wrong. I didn't think it would hit 20,000. Now, it barely, 22,700, whatever. It's got everything back. They did do some things at the end, open it to Japan, do those kinds of things like that. That does help get a bigger number. They know what they're doing with it, so it is funded. It's a decent figure, and everybody's going to be happy that gets it. So this is kind of the what's showing up where kind of conversation, and Road Rage showing up at Target. I've not seen it yet in my area, but I do want to say I did not see anything worthwhile this whole week of taking a picture of in a Transformer section. And maybe Wreck-Gar showing up at some GameStops. That's a thing. But with this picture, I do want to say, if you're into the Neca Turtles, I don't know how much deeper Neca can go into Turtles and sustain sales. I think Neca has jumped the shark in Turtles. Unless they put just the main cast back out again, I think they're just going to go nowhere. So we're giving confirmation that the MPG Takara Trainbot version of Raiden here is going to be under 12 inches tall in combined mode. Now, I still feel it's a rumor, but 12 inches does not make 12 inches doesn't even make the main line. Like, what we're going to get next year is going to be 18-inch tall version of a Metasword. So if it's really only 12 inches or so, this is wrong. So it's not Masterpiece. It's Chug. $200 a limb Chug. Crazy world we live in. So Hasbro has officially revealed what? Unofficially what? Someone else has officially revealed this new version of Galvatron. This is going to be the reconfigured version of Galvatron, reformatting, and the Unicron accessory pack. It is an accessory pack to go along with your HasLab Unicron. You do not get the Unicron head, but you get the mini-bot figures for Ultra Magnus, Perceptor, RC Cup, Grimlock, Snag, Slug, Swoop, Snarl, and then Decepticons you get Megatron, Scourge, Cyclonus, Ramjet, and Soundwave. So you also get the Autobot Shuttle, the Decepticon Revenge, and the Quintesson Cruiser. All this packed with this seems to be semi-translucent or fake translucent version of Galvatron. Pretty cool set, but when will it actually be announced by Hasbro? So real quick, I talked last week about being hard to get. this week, I found that he is on Amazon for $22.99, but you have to scroll through some stuff. Now, I'll link it below, and then at the very bottom of that, you see where I highlighted, you click on New and Used from 38 items. This goes for everything you buy on Amazon. Click down there, and then select from Amazon the lowest price. For whatever reason, one of their third-party sellers gets listed first, always, nowadays. It wasn't a thing years ago. It's a new thing. So, there you go. Tip and trick of the day. So, love them or hate them, we have the Super 7 version of these figures, 4-inch retro-style figures on a card back and a blister card back. This is wave 5. We're going to get Grimlock in the Dino mode. We already got the bot mode. RC, good idea. Reflector, you gotta get 3. And Prowl. And this is, it's a pretty good wave. But I think what's kind of cool is the card back shows us more than these. It's a full checklist. Now, I'm a sucker for this. I love a checklist. Now, I would probably get in wave 4 the Rodimus Hot Rod and then the Galvatron, and then I still need a Devastator. So, I mean, I'm pretty up to date on this, except for a handful of these, because GameStop carries them for $15 on sale for between $11 and $12 right now. If you go to your GameStop and you want to pick these up for what I think is a good MSRP, not $18. But going forward, I don't know how much time this line really has left. And it's pretty cool at the end of the day. Okay, so it's orchestrated to have less mainline news this week than usual because in about 5 days, on the 22nd, we're going to have PulseCon. Before we talk about that, we did lose somebody this week. Brian Goldner passed away, and he was the CEO of Hasbro. And a lot of people give him credit for a lot of things. That he basically took Transformers to the next direction and involve him with some of what was going on with the movies, the live action movies, and really digging into those. And he gets credit for a lot of stuff. And I want to say that Transformers has become probably, if not the greatest franchise going on right now for collectibles. And this guy has helped push it in that direction. Many people are scared what direction it's going to go going forward. Alright, so there's this thing called Transformers More Than Meets the Eye Hall of Fame 2021, and what this is all about is a questionnaire of who should be in the Beast Wars character of Season 1 for the computer animated series, and select your vote. Optimus Primal, Rhinox, Dinobot, Cheetor, Rattrap, Tigatron, Airazor, Megatron, Scorponok, Pterosaur, Tarantulas, Waspinator, Black Arachne, Inferno, all that kind of stuff. So they do, I think it's a total of two questions. The other one is which one should be the Cybertron Kingdom toy line, which one should be in the Hall of Fame, and they talk about the Optimus Prime, Rattrap, Vertebrake, Cheetor, Black Arachne. You know where I'm going with this, so I'll try to put a link down below on this one so you can vote, but I think it's either going to be a reissue, they're just going to make it again, or they're going to do something special with it, but maybe a different paint job or a deluxe version, something, but we'll find out after this poll. So PulseCon is supposed to take place pretty soon, and they put up kind of like a little teaser of what we can expect, and they're talking about the Transformer Legacy and what we're going to see from Wave 1 of the next generation of the toy line in 2022. What about all the stuff from 2021 that's still on the ships? Will that go to clearance right away? So they're talking about the Hall of Fame. We just talked about that. They're talking about how they're going to include the Unicron Companion Pack with Ben Burley as the lead singer. So there's something going on with that. Maybe we get some songs or some music in there, and then the premium early access to exclusives. I gotta tell you, if everything's locked behind early access, I'll just do without, and I'll make a video really hating on that whole point. But It's going to happen on October 22nd. Now, it happens at the same time as TFCon, and a lot of people feel like it was planned to kind of block TFCon. So that's a thing. We'll see what happens. But remember, if you're a Joe fan, you're in for that Zartan. So Neca is doubling down on the 31 Nights of Fright, and they're making an Evil Dead version of this dude here. I got this figure for my brother, an 18-inch version, and so I don't know if I'm going to go all out and get this one for him. I might just get this one for myself. But anyway, if you're a fan of the Evil Dead, well, here you go. So, Neca is announcing their preview of the Bronx figure for Neca, and they haven't put out their first gargoyle yet, and now we got this guy. So, it's interesting how they switch from completely different aesthetics from one to the other, but it looks cool. It looks menacing and ominous. I look forward to having the first one in my hands to see how it goes. And NECA's announcing a slew of Mogwais, repainted to be all the different crazy characters like Spike and all them. But Stripe? Is it Spike or Stripe? Anyway, here they are. And if you're into this line, you're going to be excited because these look really good. And it's going to be hard to pass on them. But 6 of them at $30 a piece or 33 a piece, whatever the price comes out to be, it's going to be expensive. But it does look pretty cool. So Todd from Todd McFarlane is putting out the Swamp Thing. And this thing looks good, but it's starting to feel like it looks like a better Mossman than we're going to get from Mossman from what we got from the multiverse from Mattel. This is an interesting look. It looks good, but it feels a lot like a better Mossman. Transitioning to some Motu, or Masters of the Universe, we've got this Revelations Savage He-Man and Orko, and they say this is going to kind of lead into Season 2 or the Season 1.5 or whatever they're calling the next iteration, but looks pretty cool. Orko has always been one of my favorite characters in the Motu, which is weird, and I don't know. This is a cool set. I don't know how much it's going to cost just yet, and I don't know if it's going to be out, when it's going to be released, or where you'll get it just yet. So my son is into all things 80s, and I can't figure out why he likes the 80s so much. It's just randomly, he likes stuff from the 80s, out of the blue. But anyway, we were looking at Motu at Walmart, and he said those figures on the left, those new He-Man figures, that's future clearance. Even at $10 a piece, they don't sell. And they don't stand very well on their own. Now, I understand it's a kid's toy, a kid's property, going for kids, definitely not collectors or nostalgia, so understood, it is what it is. Now, if you notice, the regular Skeletors and He-Mans all went on clearance to $7 at Walmart, and were gone quickly. So, there's going to be a new version coming out, and Amazon has them right now in stock with the retro head, but they're putting the same figures out with retro heads. I don't know if they'll actually hit retail. So we're getting some Bounty Collection holiday assortment of Grogu, and this is interesting. I don't know about this. There's going to be 3 different versions. One's going to be in a blanket, this one in the blue, and then one in red. So if you're into it, I really think they're overdoing Mandalorian. So the Disney Store is getting this, they call it the Toy Box. The Toy Box version of the Razor Crest. And it's a scaled down toyetic version of a Razor Crest. We knew we'd get Razor Crest at retail, but this thing is, I don't know, around $40 or something like that. You get a Mandalorian in Toy Box style, a Grogu child in Toy Box style, and you get a couple of action features. I think this is actually a step down from what we're going to see at Walmart. So Walmart has these Mission Fleet figures, and the vehicles that go with them, they're kind of like accessories for the figures. But when it comes to the Razor Crest, this thing is $40. Now, some places were charging $50 that got it early, but it's a $40 item at your local Target, or if you're at Walmart. But it's going to be small. You know, it won't work with 3.75 inch, and definitely not with your Black Series. But it might be a background item or something to just put on your shelf. It's interesting they're doing it. I'll eventually buy one myself to compare it to the real Razor Crest for the Vintage Collection. But it gets you to think, how do these figures with the Mission Fleet, how do they hit retail, they hit the market, but other stuff doesn't? Do they just grow on the shelf? Magically appear? No, they go through the same production and shipping as everything else. So I think the biggest Star Wars news this week was the Retro Collection, which is sad that that's your biggest news for the week, but maybe they're holding out for PulseCon. That's coming up on the 22nd. So here we are with Wave 2 of The Mandalorian, and I hear we're still gonna get some stuff from Return of the Jedi next year. So we've got Mandalorian in his Beskar armor, and then we have a Death Trooper, which Death Troopers are cool. We have the armor, we have Ahsoka Tano, we have the Bo-Katan, and Boba Fett that people call Fat Boba Fett, but they're calling this something else. So anyway, this is actually a decent wave. 6 figures, but I want to point out that most retailers are charging $13 or $14 a piece for $10 figures. I know inflation is there, inflationary pressures are there, but I still think Target and Walmart will loss lead these at $9.99. And Hasbro themselves has given out guidance that we are going to have shipping delays in Black Series, in Vintage Collection, and other toy lines this Christmas season. And it makes me wonder if there is enough meat on a bone to talk about this situation, because I think most of the stuff we are fighting for right now, collectors are paying double, triple, quadruple to buy them on eBay, will show up on the shores next year, 2022, and hit the shelves on clearance. I don't know. I can't guarantee it, but it's a feeling, it's a gut feeling from, 27 years of toy collecting. It's a gut feeling. So, let me know what you think about this week's weekly news in review. What else is going on out there that I didn't talk about? Like and subscribe to Jeremy Hanger out.